What's up, ultra happy people? I am your host, ultra runner and coach Tanya, and I am here with your magnificent, soon-to-be ultra runner, Andy.
And now terrified of the hills of Scotland. Andy. We'll talk about that.
Oh my God.
That was funny.
All right, guys. Let's get into it right away because we have a pretty long
one,
I know.
Chunky one today.
It's going to be a fun one. So brace yourselves for this one.
We missed last week. That's what the problem is.
Yes. So I think that's what it is. But we came back, as always, with a lot of stories. And I assure you, this one's going to be a funny one because, yes, we went to Scotland. And Andy is back alive. So that's always good. All right. So roadmap for today's episode. We have Andy's first trail running Scottish experience. And he's alive.
Is it my first? Yeah, it is my first because we only walked the West Highland way before.
And number two, we have the last episode of Cocodona 250 where we're going to go through the last kilometers of my Cocodona experience this year. And let's figure out what happened in those last kilometers before I had to pull the plug and go home. And number three, we are 18 days away from Burning Man 50K. It's going to be Andy's first ultra running, and it's going to be my longest, flattest run ever. So we both are terrified. So we'll talk into it.
Never even done a marathon before, and I'm going straight into it.
Of course, that's how it should be.
Starting to feel nervous.
All right. So let's get into it. And of course, Andy's facts. By Andy.
Oh, we're just going straight in it?
Right into it. Because like I said, we have a very busy chat today.
Okay. So, today we're going to talk about gear.
Okay.
So, when I was fighting for my life in Scotland, as you mentioned, it made me think about the gear I had, right? I thought I was pretty well prepared for it. I mean, I had, like we always say, I've got the gear, all the gear, no idea. I had the waterproof trousers, the jacket, the whole shooting match. It felt good. But there was things that happened out there that made me think differently.
Okay.
So I thought that was quite, yeah. So I thought that might help. So I know, as always, science backed. Okay, so first one is your running cap can help prevent hyponatremia. Science says a study in medicine and science and sports and exercise found that shading the head reduces sweat rate up to 13% in sunny conditions. So why that matters? Less sweat, slower sodium loss, and a simple cap can buy you more time before electrolyte depletion.
Interesting. Yeah, definitely. Plus, it will keep your face and the least exposure your skin is in with the sun, the better as well.
Yeah.
So.
Well, do you know what? Because that day, I mean, we'll talk about how the weather was crazy, right? But it was elements of sunny and I felt really sweaty at times. I thought, I feel uncomfortable, but I'll keep my jacket on.
It's because the jacket is... Usually the waterproof, even though they say it's breathable, I mean, there has an element of waterproof that is sort of plasticky feeling. And obviously you get quite hot, but yeah.
Yeah, but reading about that just made me think about how much I'm definitely going to wear a cap when I go out because I don't always do that. Okay, next one I thought was quite interesting. Compression gear may aid recovery, but not necessarily performance.
I don't like it.
Science says a meta-analysis in sports medicine in 2016 concluded that compression clothing has small but significant benefits for reducing muscle soreness and swelling after runs, but minimal direct impact on race day speed. Why it matters is use compression for post-run recovery, not as a miracle performance booster.
See, I don't know why I don't like it. I think... there's some people that swear by it. If you swear by it, let us know why, because I don't understand. I swell a lot, and the longer it is, the more swelling I get, and more if it's hot. So because you start drinking electrolytes, salts, and salt gets to retention, and then I am like a size bigger. And then if I have a compression something, I just feel like a squeezed sausage. I don't know.
I think it was dead interesting for me because I see a lot of runners out there and it doesn't matter what run they're doing, whether it be trail or whether they're out just running distance.
There is a thing,
they've always got them on, so it was dead interesting. So yeah, definitely let us know.
You can try. Obviously, I always say try it because you may like it and your body may feel better and you may recover better. I feel like I recover better, one, if I just let my body be And I feel better during the race if I'm not squished.
Okay. So pack weight placement changes running efficiency.
Yeah.
So a 2018 study in applied ergonomics showed that carrying weight higher and closer to the spine, like a snug hydration vest, uses less energy than the same weight lower down or further out, like waist packs or loose backpacks. Why it matters, how you carry gear is as important as what you carry, especially in ultras where efficiency over hours matters more than a few seconds gained.
I guess, yeah.
I tell you what, I got a new pack, didn't I?
You had your birthday present.
Yeah, I got a new running pack, a new Salomon Skin 4. And I tell you what, as much as I loved my Nike Trail pack, I felt a difference.
Yes, this one was a little bit bigger. It's like has a little bit more, fits more because it's a 4-liter one. So we got Andy Salomon one. And the thing is like, it has to hug you sort of thing. So it's like, it feels almost like a second skin.
That is the difference.
Yes, exactly.
And even with the other Salomon pack, what weight?
The other one was, and it was one of a very old Salomon. The one he was wearing or using my old one, my first pack ever. First Salomon packs of 10 years ago, people, they are not that light either. They are super heavy. And obviously they got better with it. And, they've been changing and getting better and better with the years, 10 years. But Andy was wearing my my first ever old pack. So obviously it was not, the most efficient. So that's why I was like, okay, but I let you use it for a little bit just because I wanted to see if it was not just a phase and we were just not going to spend in a backpack. But now that I've seen that you're a little bit more serious about it, I decided that, okay, we're going to give him a birthday present and spoil him with a Salomon good pack.
But
so that is super important.
But the point for me is it actually felt different. It felt better. It felt more comfortable. Everything about it was better on both.
Well, that's great. That's great that you enjoy your birthday present.
This one is, I think, like, I couldn't believe this, but it makes sense. Is running belts make you pee less?
What?
So it's not peer reviewed yet, right? But an observational study in Journal and Ultra Anecdotes say that snug waist belts can increase abdominal pressure slightly, making runners subconsciously hold their pee in longer.
What?
Why it matters, if you're wondering why you suddenly haven't needed a pee for 3 hours when you're running, it might not be hydration, it might be your pack.
Nah, I don't know. I don't believe that one.
Actually,
debatable.
One of the belts that we have is a really, really tight fit. So if that's putting pressure on your abdomen, then
I would say you would need to pee more.
Well, it's saying, I think we should test that out. I don't know how, but
debatable.
We'll test it out. And this one is especially for you.
I love those.
Old race shirts can double up as high-tech mosquito repellents.
What?
So science says, again, not peer reviewed yet, but in studies, and ultra trail runners swear by it, which is the most important thing, is nothing repels bugs like the smell of a 3-year-old race shirt that's lucky but never been fully washed clean. Why it matters? Sometimes the nastiest gear in your closet has alternative uses.
I don't know, because in Namibia and in, I would say, what was it, Jordan, I was not smelling nice. Yeah. Obviously, we haven't showered for 3 days, and there was a lot of mosquitoes and not a lot of flies because there's camels around. So obviously there's always, bugs around. They didn't care for that. Yeah. So I don't know. Debatable.
Well, actually, when I was doing it, and it was in the facts and I took it out, it was talking about sweat wicking fabric, for example, versus cotton. Now,
cotton's not good.
You're at the point where you actually like to wear cotton because you want to be breathable, but
that's only for the gym, not for running.
It's only for the gym, right?
Yeah.
But it takes it down by 30%, and if you can reduce your sweat, if you can reduce that, that's quite a lot. And also, what I've noticed as well is that the sweat wicking t-shirts, like one that I have in particular, is way, way better because it actually carries weight on your t-shirt because it's soaking. And I hate that.
I hate the feeling that it's like stuck to you
and it like feels heavy, and then you feel heavy. Yeah. And actually I love those sweat wicking t-shirts, but by 30% it reduces it.
Yeah. So gear, very important, obviously, is one of the reasons why I think, one of the many reasons why I succeeded in those 5 deserts. I forgot already how many deserts.
Forgot, yeah.
So I had to say, picking up your gear, definitely makes a big difference. More so when in these races, for example, if we did a mistake, well, too bad for you, because there was nothing that you could change about your decision. So I had to make the decision when I was packing here at home. And then when you take that plane, it is over. There is no drop bags. There is no crew. There is nothing. So when I did, Cocodona, I thought I was feeling confident of, oh, you know what? I'm going to have crew. Like my gear, like I'm just going to survive with the same gear. I'll put, a couple of bits. I've survived 6 days with the same clothes. So I almost didn't want to put extra clothes because I was like, I'll be fine. I'm not going to change. I've lived with the same clothes before. I'm absolutely fine. I'm not even changing shoes. So you know what? It's fine. That's sort of how I thought about the gear when I was preparing for Cocodona. So I went a little bit minimal in my gear because I thought, like I said, I haven't even changed shoes in 5 days. So with that little idea, we're going to start talking too, because it has to do with gear stupidity, what we're going to talk about next.
So what's in the roadmap next?
So next, let's talk about Cocodona. So today we're going to finish off with our Cocodona
I thought it was Scotland
experience.
Next. Okay.
Oh, sorry. Yes. Your Cocodona experience. It was close to Cocodona experience for you.
Because we forget that we've not been here for 2 weeks.
I forgot. Yes. I thought I told you guys all about the Scottish experience for Andy. So before we get into Cocodona, we went last week that we were not here.
Last week.
To Andy's brother's wedding. And I was like, let's stay a couple of days. Obviously you stay a couple of days before, after. And I was like, let's go to the hills.
Yeah, we'd planned to get out there. And my hope was that it was going to be like a precursor for running outside an ultra and the weather would be good.
Yeah, because it's summer in the UK. And I think they had a pretty hot summer. So I was actually excited because
me too.
I would say Scotland, when it's a nice day in Scotland, when you get one of the off days that is beautiful and you're on the trails, it's absolutely one of the best places in the world, I have to say. But those are very rare, or maybe that's why it makes it really because that never happens. So I plan a route. I haven't seen these routes for years now, like 2 years. So I kind of forget what routes are what routes, and I kind of remember the routes a little bit. Now, another thing I have to say, Scotland, you do need to know how to navigate. Like you will absolutely get lost if you do not know how to navigate. There's nothing, there is no signs, there's trails everywhere, like you can see paths everywhere or no paths, and you need to know how to navigate very well. So I downloaded a GPS file into my watch. I
got it as well,
which I thought, Andy was going to supposedly practice with it.
I did that a wee bit.
And I said, okay, let's go on the day after the wedding and let's go. And that was pretty much the only day we had sort of to do it. So.
And then God started sending us signs.
The day of the wedding, which was the day before, it was beautiful. So I was like really, really excited because I was like, the weather is looking really great. We're going to have the best day. But then the next day,
it comes on the TV, the radio. I get an alert on my phone to say, do not leave the house. It's an amber to red weather warning. There's going to be a storm, Flora, I think her name was, coming in, and it's going to be 70 to 90 miles an hour winds.
And Andy, of course, is panicking. He's like, Tanya, we cannot go out like this. But I'm like,
I started off reviewing and saying, maybe we should think about going the next day. And Tanya's like, don't worry, it'll be fine.
It will be fine. The fact is, I've run 5 years in Scotland, and I've seen many yellow warnings almost every weekend. Obviously, now you're noticing because you were researching about, trails and things like that. But before that, I was doing that. I would receive those yellow warnings every weekend. Like, Scotland, you live in yellow warnings. So I decided I started just not that I don't believe in them, but I was just like, well, just pack extra set of dry clothes then. Like, there's nothing, because if I just stopped every time there was a yellow warning, I wouldn't have been able to train half the time that I was there. And that was a yellow warning. I've done red warnings.
It was an amber warning. And
that was
also,
Amber.
God was sending us signs. So, for example, we eventually get out in the morning. We were actually on good time. We went and got the train, and we got the train. We had to change the train. We changed the train, and we noticed that it was coming up saying trains cancelled, trains cancelled, trains cancelled, trains cancelled, except our train, fortunately. So then what happens is we then start to see parts of the local area flying past us in the train station, like bin lids, trees in the background, bits of trees flying everywhere. You could see parts of the roof of the train station coming off.
Andy
and
was
Tanya is like,
worried.
Don't worry about it. I was saying, I will never forgive you if I die out here.
Remember, he was so dramatic.
So then we get on the train, and when we're on the train, we get literally 1 mile out from our stop, and they cancel the train. Well, we're on it, and they say, nope, that's it. The winds are too bad. Scotland is shutting down. Tanya's answer to that, let's get an Uber. Let's get an Uber to the hills.
No one's just stopping me.
Let's get an Uber to the hills.
Have a mission to complete. That's how I always think about these like adventures. I even told you guys about the deserts and all. I've always think in my head is like, it's a mission. We need to complete the mission. It's like you're James Bond and you need to complete the mission.
So we get the Uber to Old Kilpatrick.
So,
and then we got out the Uber and we're starting to walk, run. And as we get on the path, we're looking at the path and there is bits of trees lying there. There is a sheep flying in the sky somewhere. And I'm looking at Tanya saying, no, we're going to get up to some clearing areas up here. It's going to be really windy. Tanya's answer, don't you worry about it.
Don't worry about it. We'll be fine.
To be fair.
Were you fine?
Fine is a very... Fine is a very small word.
You're fine. You're still here. You're alive, and you had the much
I tell
fun
you what,
that
right?
you had in your life.
And looking back on it, I had a brilliant day, and we'll maybe talk about some of the elements of it, right? But I didn't mind the wind as much because I was able to deal with that, and I felt equipped. However, what I wasn't capable of dealing with really was the bogs.
Yeah, Scotland or UK, you are not fun when you rain, which is 99% of the time.
So for those who don't know what a bog is, for example, a bog is a puddle that you don't know how deep it is. A mud puddle, you don't know how deep it is. So what you can normally do is you can normally navigate round them by using the grass or by going other ways. But then I found out quite quickly that some of them are actually waist deep. Mm-hmm. So you would step in a puddle, which you thought was small.
And you would disappear.
And you would disappear. And then I realised that what you can do is you can actually use your poles. I was thinking on the go. I was problem solving.
Okay.
I was using the poles, sticking them in to the ground. I would stick it in. I thought, that's perfect. I'll stand on that. And my leg would still go in.
Yes. I think I used to do that at the beginning, like to kind of test sort of where I think later on I decided, or I think you get tired of, so you're like, I don't care anymore. So you just march on, which that's what I do. I usually march on. I don't care how deep it is. I just go with it and I just push through. But yeah, that was
But I'll tell you the thing that I've really learned about myself in this is that I used to hate getting my feet wet, as you know, running. And I think it was down to pure inexperience because I thought getting your feet equals your feet being wet for the rest of the run.
Yeah.
But actually what I realised, and halfway through the bog area, and the bog area was only 5 kilometres out of 24 or whatever it was, is that once you get your feet wet, if you've got the right gear on, which is why I talked about gear, then it drains and actually it dries out quite quickly. Exactly. So once I realised that, I thought, I don't give a shit about the bogs anymore.
Exactly.
I'm just walking through them, no problem. It's like I didn't care. That was me. I know.
I am so proud. I was a bit worried at times because it did got a bit windy and the winds were, I have to say, a little bit
knocking us off our feet. Literally blowing us off our feet.
I was okay. I experienced that and even stronger winds at some point. It was summer, so I have to say that it was not even cold. Like, thank God, it was actually quite mild and even warm at some points. Like, the water was warm. I've done that route in winter, and I have to say that is not fun. Like, I would say you would have struggled a little bit more when if So it was a good sort of introduction into, the wilderness of Scotland. It gets quite bad in winter. Like I said, I have done that route and it's all full with ice and snow. And you still go into the bogs and the bogs are freezing and you must move fast. Otherwise, you just pretty much freeze to death.
I tell you what, see when we got there was a few sketchy parts.
Yes.
Definitely when
I was worried for you in the sketchy parts because I'm like, he is going to panic. So I was trying to pretend like I was like, come on, like very, but I was like inside myself. I was like, oh dear God, please.
No, I thought I was okay, but in the sketchy parts, I was looking at them going, right, okay, how are you going to navigate this? And it's that, like in that kind of terrain, you think about it. But see, once we got past the sketchy parts, see the running.
That was
fun. Running was amazing, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And actually, the difference between running and the temperature and the climate here versus the temperature and the climate there is so different.
It feels
so different.
No humidity, not at least at the levels.
Actually, I remember the weekend there, I'd done a mall run as well. So over in Dubai, you can do mall runs at the moment. So because it's so warm and the air quality, etc., you can do the mall runs. And I'd done 20 kilometres in the mall run. And I had the same feeling in there of being able to breathe again. And it's just such a different run, isn't it?
So if you live somewhere that is not humid, you're so lucky. Lucky bastards.
Lucky,
We're dying here. Yeah. Anyway, so I was so proud that you were able to kind of fight against those fears that you had, because at the beginning you were absolutely terrified. I remember again seeing you like, Tanya, this is not good. Like there was pieces of like trees flying behind you and you're like, I don't know about this. I am really, but you've got me. I wasn't going to let you.
There's a video knocking about somewhere, right, where Tanya is trying to say, it'll be absolutely fine. You don't need to worry about it. The wind won't be that bad. And in the background, there is a tree that's literally going left to right and falling over. And this thing's flying
fine. Back. That's all you have to think about. You were with me. I wasn't going to let anything bad happen to you. The only thing I said is just take care of your ankles, because if you do twist an ankle, we are in trouble because there is nowhere or no one that would be able to help us. There is no signal in Scotland in any of those hills, and you're really on your own. So I hope you get a little bit of a taste of what my last 5 years in Scotland were. I usually used to go on my own by myself. I enjoy, again, like you guys know, I like to go on my own and kind of navigate on my own and get lost or figure out a way to go back on my own. So, but that was sort of the elements I had to be fighting for those 5 years.
Doing things like that, which is completely different from what I've been doing, is an education in some ways. Mm-hmm. Because like I say, I had to think on the go, like you always talk about, but as well as that, like I figured out about my shoes and my socks. I decided not just with my poles, but using my poles in different manners to go up and down hills and go through.
That's why I say that I was born in Mexico, but I was built in Scotland, because Scotland gave me
everything
so much that I learned not only about myself, because you have to have such a strong mind to push through winters and those kind of weather conditions, and then knowledge about your gear and knowledge about how to navigate, and like you were saying, shoes, like you had one run and you learned so much. Imagine if you've done it 5 years. It's definitely gave me really good basis to kind of do the crazy challenges that I do. And despite the challenges that I did were in heat, you have the base of problem solving and thinking and knowing how you react or how you solve, not only in cold, but now, you will have the tools, a mental toolkit that I call it, to kind of solve anything sort of that throws you the route or the challenge.
I have probably the most important lesson that I learned. Is we know,
I can do hard things.
We know that ultra runners and trail runners love a good toilet story.
Yeah.
Is I learned that, because I've never done pee outside in the running, right? And when I'm
careful
running,
in Scotland because it's windy, so
is that you have to pee not against the wind,
but
downwind. Otherwise, it's not great.
When you said I'm going to pee, I was like, I hope you're taking consideration it's like 90-mile winds right now.
But
So
I was pretty confident I was going the right direction, but you forget the wind goes round you. So you have to find the perfect spot.
yes, at least there's a lot of bushes and a lot of like vegetation around to kind of cover. But yeah,
I used that.
And Andy, at the end of the whole day, he did he said the most beautiful thing. He said, "I know I can do hard things," and I thought that wraps it up pretty much. If you know you can do hard things, that is you unlocking another level in your life, or because you know your potential. You just realized you can do that, and then that opens a whole new sort of world to possibilities of what else can I do. And that's what I've been trying to kind of push you a little bit out of your comfort zone. So if you don't have anyone, or you want to push yourself out of the comfort zone, try different things, obviously with someone that is next to you. I'm not telling you to go through weather extreme conditions on your own, or try to navigate if you don't know how to navigate. Like, always do it safely, obviously. But yeah, that is such a
it was fun,
crazy experience. But before that, you did have even a crazier experience in Cocodona 250. So let's get cracking into that's where you had fun as well with me.
This is my favorite.
This is your favorite day.
Do you know, see, before we start, I don't know if I've ever mentioned this. Obviously, I was super proud of you for doing the Cocodona thing, right? And you've done so amazingly well, and you got so far. I didn't expect it to be the experience it was for me. Mm-hmm. I knew I was going to pace, right? But I never expected to come out of it, and I'm sure we'll explain why in a minute. The way I felt almost different. The fact that I'd achieved something only just being a pacer as well.
Yeah, that's cool.
And I would urge anybody, and I think again we've said it in the past, to get out there and pace someone. Yeah.
If you are obviously not ready for a 250 mile distance, which, fair enough. I don't think I'm ready. It's good to pace. And that's exactly where we're going to pick our story, because if you remember right, the last episodes, we've been covering Cocodona in the last 3-4 episodes, and last episode we left it in me arriving to Jerome, where I picked up my second pacer. So let's do
third, technically.
Yeah, because Andy, yes, you have to listen to it. So we're coming again. I'm gonna put you again into context just in case you're landing here as a new listener. So this season, we've been talking about my first 250 mile experience in Cocodona. It was just 4 weeks after being the 9th woman on Earth to complete the 5 deserts. So was I ready? I wouldn't say I was fully ready,
debatable.
But hey, we love to solve along the way, like we just discussed. So, so far we've been doing okay. We are 200 kilometers in. We get to Jerome checkpoint. That is, again, 200 kilometers, roughly 124 miles for people in the US. In this race, so far, so good. And like I said, I met my second/third.
If you haven't listened to the previous podcast, I had paced Tanya on the previous one, and this was my biggest concern, because when we were coming to Jerome, at that point, I was almost holding you up, remember? Yeah. Coming down the hill to it, and that was my worry.
But I got a second wind. I was like, there is sunshine. My parents are here. So my crew, I have a new pacer. So that usually gives you like a different, feeling of it. And Emma, I put in my socials that I was looking for a pacer, and someone kind of referred to me to Emma, and we chatted a little bit, and we said, yes, sure, I can help you. And she just wanted or could do a 30-kilometer stretch because she hasn't done anything further than that. And that's what she felt comfortable doing. So I figured out Jerome to the next one would be the ideal section, because that's exactly 30K. So Jerome to Deer Pass. So that's what we did. I met her there. I felt, like I was saying, so energized. It was seeing my crew for the third time. And this station, Jerome, apart that it was such a cool place and a cool town that we were saying last episode, it was just a swapping station in this one in our plan. There was no really a rest to sleep or anything. It was just a pickup pacer station for me. So I ate, got a hug from my mom. I got the blessings and we moved forward, Emma and I, against the world.
Into the night.
Into the night. Well, that was, I think, afternoonish when we got there. So we still have a little bit before the nighttime. And I have to say, this stretch would have been the easiest stretch of all because there was like a downhill with tarmac, clear trails. But of course not, because why would be, right? I'm having the luckiest time of my life. So right after we left, which there was like sunny and it was clear, the rain just started. But it was like a different kind of rain because if you remember the first days we had rain, but it was like that, like snippy, like really light rain, like continuous, but like light rain, right? Like a sprinkle. Well, this time it was like a monsoon kind of rain, you know, like thick, heavy drips. Like I could feel it in my head. One of the drips like falling, like it was just so much. And so just, it was a downpour. You remember that? Where were you guys?
No, but you know the funny thing is, the reason why I'm looking into space there, right, is that we didn't see much of that. A funny story about this is actually I got us lost, right? So,
oh dear.
Because I had said to your dad to take a wrong turn and we ended up in some militarized zone. Anyway, right, that we seen the clouds and the clouds were massive, but we were driving away from them at the time.
Oh well,
so we never actually seen that rain.
Walking
we could see it in the
towards
distance.
It was hell. It was a rain that very few times I've seen in my life, and I was not happy at this point. I was tired. I was fed up of being wet. To be honest, I just couldn't believe I was fully soaked again, and whatever. We're crossing this beautiful town. I can't remember obviously the name, but it was just tarmac because it was crossing a town. And although the crossing was, the people were like just driving past and they were probably looking at us like, what are these people doing? We're the only sippy people in the street just walking, fully drenched. And I even thought some people are going to stop and ask us if we want to lift somewhere because it was just so bad. But it was so cute that we were walking past these houses and suddenly one lady, we seen her run out of her front door with a big umbrella and she just started cheering. I just get goosebumps. And she was like, oh my God, guys, I'm just watching you guys on live stream. And I thought I was just so moved by it. And my pacer, Emma, she was like talking to her. She walked a little bit with us and she's like, these guys are incredible, right? And they were just talking about it and, a little bit of a cheer. But that was so kind that this woman just walked out of her front door to just, screamed and cheer me on. She clearly didn't know me. And she was just following the race through. It will be funny that the race goes through your front door and you're just like sitting watching it on live and YouTube. And so you turn around, there's people passing doing this race. It was just how incredible was that. So the race was so heavy, right? That at some point we had to cross under a bridge, which now it's a pool. Right, there's like waist deep pool at that point, and then there was like little floating lanterns about because obviously they put the lanterns stick to the ground because it was going to start getting dark eventually. At one point, so I guess those were in the ground or in the sand because it was like sort of like a sandy bed. That's actually worse because when sand gets wet, it just gets like a mushed.
Yeah, you can sink into
horrible. Anyway, there was like a bit of a stretch. I would say like 100 meters of like just swimming puddle. That was not a river crossing. It was just a puddle that you needed. It's under a bridge. So we're like, first of all, we were a little bit concerned if we were going the right way. But then when we see the lanterns floating out, I was like, yeah, I guess this is for us. Like, who would put lanterns? They were like,
you're walking to it thinking this looks a little romantic.
Yeah, exactly. Like those cute lantern, romantic lanterns. And I was like, I don't think the town would put lanterns on the bridge. I think this is us. So obviously we pull along and we kept walking, and she was like a little bit shocked. I don't think Emma may have done anything like that before. So
Okay.
she was like,
Because she seemed pretty experienced as a runner.
yeah, but maybe not trail. So she
And by this time, was it night time?
no, it was still day.
It was still daylight,
Yeah.
okay.
And but she was pretty shocked that she's like, I can't believe you've done already, 200 plus kilometers, 120 miles, and you still having to go and do this,
Do things like that,
it's
yeah.
just, So just later, just a couple of maybe 1.5 kilometer, a little bit more in front of us, there is a river crossing. This one's a river, like this is a proper river, right? Which I think it's a normal river. It doesn't look too deep, but because of the rain that we had, this river was angry.
Did you have a rope?
No,
to pull you over?
No. But here is the thing. So when we were in that 2 kilometer stretch towards the river, there was a guy that passed us. And you say hi, and he kept going. And then we seen the river and we're like, but you can hear how angry it was.
Yeah.
Like the current was really heavy. Anyway, we seen the guy in the other side of the river and he was waiting for us because he obviously remembered there's 2 girls coming behind me.
Oh, that was good.
And he said, that is really dangerous. So I'm just going to wait here for them. And he was just waiting for us there. It was so kind. And that's sort of the kind of people you do the races with, that's sort of the quality
was that the
of
only
people.
way to get across is to go through the
The
river?
only way. So we pull through. The river was, I would say, knee deep, but yes, the current was like you could feel
Like pulling you.
like pushing you. So we were very, just took our time. And like I said, the guy was so kind. He was like pulling us with his poles, and it was just I don't know. It's just like those little things that you're like, that's what humanity is, right? Like, but anyway, after that, we survived 2 river crossings and the rain kind of stopped raining like that hard. It got drizzle and then kind of eventually disappeared. So I took all my waterproofs. I kept moving towards Dead Horse Ranch. There was no fire yet there because it was, the rain just cleared, but they told us like, hey guys, we're going to start putting the fire up. Just give us a second and all that. So I said, you know what, let's just wait because they're going to put the fire. Yeah. So it would be good to dry all our kit. Wait, I checked the weather. It looked like there was not going to be any more rain. Yeah. So we have another like 20K. And I said, you know what, let's dry everything. It will be really nice to do the next 20K at least dry. So, there was plenty of people around. So I said, you know what? And they built up the fire pretty fast. It was quite intense and it was nice to feel toasty because it was getting a little bit cold. And Emma was super helpful. She took all my gear, my wet gear and everything, because I can barely move at this point, right? And, take my shoes and everything, and we put them close to the fireplace.
Yeah.
And I decided, and she put everything close to it, and I was eating or just, resting a little bit and so on. And, I would say it took half an hour just until everything was sort of a little bit, at least, less damp. And
did you eat and everything while you were there?
Yes, they had burritos. And so I had a couple of burritos. To be honest, I was just not seeing, at this point, I just kind of ignored the fire. Like it was there, but I was just eating and doing my thing, just kind of fixing again my backpack and everything. And after 30, 40 minutes, like I said, I'm like, okay, let's keep going. So let's grab our stuff. And that's when tragedy happens. Are you all ready for this?
Yeah, everyone.
I get so angry now just thinking about it. As we're ready for it, we grab our kit. Emma goes to pick up all the kit, shoes and all. And then I just heard her screaming, oh no, my shoes are melted. I panicked because my shoes were right next to her shoes. And her shoes, like all the sole was gone. Like gone. Because she put them too close to the fire. So I was like, oh no. So I grabbed mine, and thank God the heel of my right shoe was just kind of halfway gone.
It looked like someone had taken a bite out of it.
Yes, it was just like a tiny bite. So I was like, and I put them on just kind of praying that it was okay. Yeah. Like, please God, please, because I had nothing there.
Not to mention that we had actually only bought these shoes.
Yes, they are new shoes, by the way.
2 days ago. Mm-hmm. So because we ended up deciding, oh, do you know what? You're going to need that secondary pair of shoes. So we bought the shoes 2 days ago.
Yes. So I put them on and I said, I don't feel any difference on my shoes. So I said, oh, thank God, that was close. Whew, all right, perfect. Let's keep going. I asked, Emma, you okay? She's like, oh, it feels a bit squishy, but it's fine. I only have 20 kilometers to go. And I said, yeah, and you don't have any other option. So yeah, let's go. So we kept moving and we go into the dark. So while we were there, the night came. So we head out now with headlamps and everything to face the third night out course for me. And same, the hallucinations didn't take too long to appear again. Same story. The stones were moving and the stones were like, they had like pictures on the stones. Again, just the same hallucinations I've been having for the past. Maybe because I wasn't looking up. I could have seen probably something different, which was probably a bit more scary. I just put my head down and I was looking at the path. And again, gravel and stones. So it was just like the stones moving.
Yeah.
Very funny. So yeah, hallucinations were there. And I just told Emma, you need to keep talking to me. And then she will start like telling me a story, right? Like she's like, oh yeah, this time I went to this place. Have you been? And I'm like, Emma, just don't ask me anything. Just keep talking. I don't think I can answer because I was just so out of it. And she's like, okay, don't worry. So she started telling me the funniest stories about dates, work. Oh my God, she was hilarious. She's like, I love this. I can just talk and talk and talk. I was like, exactly. Just talk. And I was just like laughing and giggling and, like here and there when she was saying something
keeping
funny.
Your spirits up.
Yeah, I was like, and just like half days walking and just kind of like, and just trying to, talk to her without talking. And so it was great. And later on, I was like, you know what? I need to start talking because I was falling asleep. So I was like, I'm going to start talking. So I was like, I want to talk. And she's like, okay. And she just started asking me really interesting questions and really important, like interesting for me to answer and interesting for her because she had a lot of questions about, she wanted to do ultras, obviously at some point and all that. So I was like, and she's like, how do you prepare your mind for this? I can't believe you're doing this. Da, da, da. So it was really cool to start, and that kind of gave me another second wind. I feel like uplifted a little bit because I was like kind of talking about how I do this and how my mindset is, even though I was like probably in my very low, but you're still moving and it was good. And for her, it was really good because she was like, oh, I can't believe you're like sharing this with me and things like that. So, it was we had a good conversations. I remember that stretch was very painful. Not painful because of my shoe yet. It was just painful because, I'm 180 something miles walking, running, and I was just, So that stretch was very, very, very tough, but it was a very nice padded trail actually. So I would have loved to be able to get into that section a little bit stronger because it would be beautiful to run it. Very runnable, absolutely. But we arrived to Deer Pass and the band, you guys were there. Yeah. I was very dead. I think this is the second time after Mingus Mountain where I thought I was going to pass out. This is the second time I'm like, this is just, I was so out of it. I was so drunk. The mini film Cocodona 250 is coming out and you will see my face. I see the videos and I look like I am so drunk. I'm talking nonsense and I just feel so bloated. Like my face is like puffy, like it was just...
I think when you arrive, know what it is? You look like a wee kid just coming in from school or something. The head was down, the shoulders were back and down and you were just kind of zombieing in the door, like...
I was like, open the door.
With your wee backpack on and coming in. And it's not that you weren't making sense, it's just everything seemed slow.
Yes.
Everything was like slowed down.
Yes.
Whether it was you're talking or you're eating or really? you're getting up onto the bed, trying to change, everything was very, very slow.
I felt that was normal.
Nah, you see it. Everything felt slow.
I just felt, like I was saying, I listened to the video that you were taking, and I sound weird as well.
Yeah.
I sound like I'm very drunk.
Yep.
Very funny, people. Yeah. Anyway, you will have a chance to see all this soon. Anyway, I get there and I'm like, you know what? This is a resting stop scheduled. So I can't remember how many hours I told the crew, and we made it up. But we decided I was going to stop there for a little bit. I did stop and I did sleep, I think. That's the first time I think I grabbed a couple of hours or minutes. I really don't know. I probably should have.
I think it was only about an hour. We got Emma as well.
Yes, Emma was sleeping there a little
but
bit.
I think he's only got around an hour.
All right. That was the first time I feel like I had at least a couple of minutes of definitely sleep.
Real sleep.
Yeah, definitely real sleep. So it was great. I slept there for a little bit and woke up, and it was starting to be kind of like sunrise. Andy was scheduled to start pacing me
this was
from
meant to
Diane.
be my first pacing.
Yes, this will be the second on schedule. The first one scheduled, the second one that wasn't scheduled. And yeah, I put my gear on. I remember my mom put my shoes on and said, Tanya, are you sure you want to take these ones because they are burned? And I said, yeah, they're fine. I already tried them on and they feel fine. And to be honest, I didn't have any other trainers that were that size. At that point, my feet are so swollen. They are at least 1 to 1.5 sizes over.
Yep.
I did have other shoes that were smaller. It was really hard to get into those shoes. I cannot imagine getting myself into smaller shoes at all. So I said, you know what? Let's just put these ones are the ones, the right size, the biggest size I have at the moment. And they're the only ones. And I tried them before. They're fine. And I just put them on and we started heading out the checkpoint. Something that I remember from that checkpoint now that I was a little bit more alive, it was that I seen people coming in when we were walking out. Remember, there was a bunch of people coming in and the cutoff was about to happen. And I see a lot of people kind of like trying to chase the cutoff, like passing through the checkpoint and then doing the nap and stopping right after the checkpoint.
It's funny, that's something I remember because I remember
there was a lot of bodies after the checkpoint.
The sun was just coming up and we had to have our headlamps on for probably the first half a kilometre because it was still dark. And as we were walking out the checkpoint, literally 100 metres on, you would start to see bodies just taking duck naps. I think there was about 5 of them in different sections.
That was very smart. I thought that these people are smart. They just passed the checkpoint because, like I said, the cutoff was now. So they just needed to run through it. Yeah. And then you can stop later, right? Once you pass, you're safe. So they took the naps there. And it was funny. We've seen plenty of people just, I already had my dirt nap in a van, super fancy. Yep. So, I didn't have to stop. So we started walking through. The sun came out and it was like, wow, now it's hot. Like, how is that change from like downpour, monsoon, cold to now it's boiling hot?
Yeah.
Like I was not ready for that at all. Like I could not think. It was like I was in a different planet, like in a different country almost.
Yeah.
It just changed from literally night to day. So, and it was like that heat of like desert heat. I was like, this is where the desert heat was. Like I've been living 3 days in other weather that I don't know.
But ironically, that terrain always sticks out in my head because while it had that heat, we were walking through sort of bushed and treed areas, remember, for a lot of it. And it wasn't really necessarily that there was much elevation or it went downhill. It was pretty flat.
It was pretty nice.
But we were kind of walking over rocks, up wee streams and like...
It was very, very nice. Yeah. A lot of puddles here and there because obviously it has been raining the days before. So yeah, we decided to keep moving forward and we entered Sedona when the sun is starting to like get really, really, really hot. And then we went into that massive town.
No. So what happened was, remember that we'd done that section and we went into an area before Sedona.
Yeah.
And then it was like a school or something, was it?
It was a checkpoint. There was another checkpoint in between. I can't remember the name, but then you enter that town, Sedona. and then you go
that town's called
into
Sedona.
a checkpoint where is this long hill. It's in the town, so it's pavement. It's clearly a city, let's say. And then you just walk up and up and up. My feet were just very uncomfortable, not because of the heel again. I just feel tired. My feet were just knackered. So I took off my shoes and I walked all that uphill.
That's what I was wanting to talk about, because you said to me, because we actually came out of all the brush, I would call it, right, onto the road, and you seen that hill, you said, do you think I can take my shoes off?
Oh, I wanted to rest.
Listen, it looks nice and clean.
The moment I took my shoes and I started walking, my feet is starting to crack.
That's what I
So
remember.
much.
Yeah.
Oh, it feels so good to I walk a lot barefooted, people. I love walking barefooted. So I think when you walk, for me, for example, that I have walked, 100 plus miles in those cushion plushed shoes.
Yeah.
Sometimes it gets achy, just that plushiness. So when I walked in the street, that was so nice. I was so cracky and it felt so delicious to get. It's like when you get cracked, your back or your fingers or whatever, you feel like that relief. That was very, very good.
I remember when we got there, because we knew by even the navigation on the watches and stuff that we weren't too far away from a checkpoint. And when you took your shoes off, we were just walking. I had your shoes in my hand and your feet were cracking away. And like,
I know, it was hard.
It was funny.
So we climb all that uphill because it's not a fun thing to do when you're absolutely knackered in like roasting heat.
Yeah.
And then when we came up to that aid station, it was the first time that I got a little bit like, shaken that the cutoff was just around the corner. Like cutoffs were starting to be just right behind me, and that's something that no runner wants to. I hate that feeling.
I think it was 30 minutes if I remember right.
So, and there was plenty of people behind us. It's not like we were, not plenty, we were back of the pack at that point, but there were still people coming behind us. So, you see everyone starting to rush towards, at least passing. But I did have comfortable time to change. I had a comfortable time to eat. Everything. And I changed gears. I put all my summer kind of against the hot weather. I filled my bandanas with ice. Like I was rushed, but I was still okay. There was more people behind us that I could see them that they literally had no time, like literally 5 minutes, and they had to, push through. So I was looking that time, but I still I started saying we need to start moving a little bit faster.
Which
because
is the point that we decided that I would then come in again and pace for this next trip.
Yeah, I said, okay, are you okay with coming again? It would be great because I've heard the next climb, it's a brutal and scary climb. They said it was scary at night. So I was kind of relieved that I was going to be doing it during the day, which... At this point, I don't even know if it's better to do it during the day because the sun was just killer. So, but usually people are like, don't do that section at night because it's scary. I don't know if you survive that.
I don't know how anyone could do that.
Do that at night. So anyway, I was like, all right, let's start, moving forward, and off we go to the next climb.
I think one thing at this point, I could notice a visible change in you that you wanted to move faster.
Yeah.
Because obviously you'd recognise that a checkpoint was just behind you. The time was just behind you, cut off.
I feel quite strong. I had no pain, no nothing, I was feeling, my feet, but apart from that, I didn't have any stomach discomfort. I was still eating. During the day, I was actually fine, maybe a little bit slow, but, slow moving, but I was still okay. At night, it was really challenging because my head was just starting to hallucinate. But during the day, I get that kick off of being, see the shine, the sun, you can feel the heat. So you're a little bit awakened. So, we pushed through, and then we got into that massive climb that everyone told me it was so scary and so steep and blah, 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 and why not? But yeah, they were not lying.
Yeah, do you know what the thing is? It gives you this false view that what happens is remember that you actually walk through a section of the town and everything, and it's beautiful, and then you go into you start
climbing these massive rocks. So when we start entering this climb, it's like really nice. It's obviously a park. It's a secured, national park, and they have these massive, again, like the other place that we went to that I said that it looks like the Flintstones. These like reddish, big, bold rocks, and they're just massive. They're just standing there in the middle of this cute town. It's just absolutely. And you remember, right? I was so excited to get to here because I've seen the photos, and I love when I see obviously I haven't recce the route or anything. So I just go by the photos and videos and things like that. So when I was obviously seeing this race, for me it was like, oh my God, look at it. Like, I cannot wait to be in this place. And when we got there, it was like, I am here. And it is as stunning and as impressive that I thought it would. Like, it was one of those places that definitely took my breath away. So as we keep plodding on, I started feeling sort of like a niggle in my knee. I kind of wanted to ignore it at the beginning because I thought, you know what, it's because we've been walking too much. And I started sort of trying to put my footing in a different form, and but we're still climbing. But that niggle started to get really sharp and sharp and sharp. I told Andy, like, there is something wrong in my knee. It's just getting really painful. So we're like, okay, just take it slow. We're just kind of trying to, think about it. I thought at some point thought, you know what, is the shoe. I think it's the heel that now is definitely giving up, and I need different shoes. I tried to send a message to my parents saying we need to buy new shoes, but I mean, clearly, where are we going to find new shoes? They are running around. We had no other shoes in the van, not at least of that size. And I don't know. I was like, don't worry about it. We'll figure it out.
I think at the time as well, when we were actually doing the climb up Sedona, you were getting a little bit of relief, because I think it seemed to be for me that when you started running or walking on flat surfaces, because the climbing, you were using different muscles maybe. Because I remember you getting up there and I remember you saying, oh, that wasn't too bad. Until we look back and we've seen how high we were. But you were like, oh, that wasn't too bad going up there. But then when you started coming across the top of it, it's like when we started doing the running section or the flatter sections up there.
Yeah, there were some...
definitely see...
Depending how the route was, it was more painful. Obviously, when you're climbing, you're using your front foot, so you're not using your heel. So obviously when you walk and you use the heel, or run when you're like, trying to put on your foot, that's when the pain was a little bit more aggravated. So as we climb all the way to the top, and obviously again the flat surfaces started, that pain started to be even more like sharper and sharper. And then when we started getting downhill, because obviously now you have to go down, right? Yeah. Before you climb a little bit more, actually. But anyway, before we start coming down, that pain was just starting to feel in my calves. So it was like suddenly like a shooting pain through my knee to all my calf. I tried to ignore it for a little bit, kind of like tried to shake it off, tried to kind of like wobble out of it, or kind of, until I was like, I sat down for a second in that tiny rock where, the sad decision happened. But I sat down just to kind of see my calf because it was a pain. And that's when I realized there was like a little bruise in my calf. And I think that's when I knew it was over, because I knew there was another 100+ kilometers in front of me. And there was going to be no chance that I would survive with that pain. If it was, let's say, maybe 10 kilometers to go or 15, I don't know, I would probably hop my way out of it. But knowing that I had 100+ kilometers still, 150, I think it was, like another 100 miler, towards the end, I was like, there is no way I can fight this. And I already have a bruise in my calf. And if you get a bruise, out of nowhere from a muscle or from a tendon, it means that there is blood and there is like a tear or something happening. So obviously in there, I sat there, and I remember I just told you, I think it was over. I cried my eyes out because I was so I think I was angry, sad. I couldn't believe that I went through all what I went through for, not for nothing, but not to complete it. But I said, you know what, I'm just going to wait here and cry here because it was a beautiful spot. We had like the most amazing view to the whole Cocodona, Bali. And I was like, you know what, I want to enjoy it. I'm here already. I made it to sort of my goal to get here, at least my seagull, right? And yeah, I was just there, cried my eyes out, gave you a hug. And, you know, we decided to pull the plug in there, try to call the crew to get us at the next point, or just kind of, you know, at that point, because I sat down and when I tried to stood up, I think my whole thing has seized up. I couldn't even put any weight on it anymore. It was so painful. So yeah, I think I was sad again, like I was saying, very angry. But also when I look at my watch to, you know, put stop or pause or finish, you know, I seen in my watch that it was 276 kilometers. So that's around 170 miles. And I was going to finish it. I also seen, and I cried it again. And I cried because I was like so proud of myself. I can't believe, again, I think it was like the sad part, but also like the proud part of me. Like who would have thought that I would go this far? I really didn't know I was going to get this far. I came into the race with so many doubts because I just finished the 5 deserts 4 weeks ago. I was not asking for a lot from myself, to be honest. I didn't have my hopes very high, to be honest. I was going to fight because that's who I am, but I didn't have my hopes very high. But I mean, 170 miles, that was quite wild for me. So I even cried even more because I couldn't believe that I was able to do that. So it was an incredible feat. I feel super proud. It's my longest that I've been fighting. And yeah, it just makes me feel proud of not only that race that I made it that far, but also of all the journey, because obviously that includes the 5 deserts. And I was like, it's been an incredible year already. So yeah, a little bit angry, obviously, because I think if it wasn't because of that shoe or that gear mishap, I think I would have had a pretty good chance to complete it. Not maybe the way I wanted, because I wouldn't have completed it maybe feeling great, because I was already struggling so much with fatigue and so on. But I would have completed it. I think I would have if I didn't have that mishap of my shoe, because I was getting close to the cutters, but I was still pretty okay in front of them, and I would have moved a little bit faster, I think. I had only one night left to battle through, so I think I would have, you know. So with that in my head, obviously, when the moment I said put the finish my watch, I decided that I needed to come back, because this was not a fair shot for me, because I was like, first of all, I am tired. I am very fatigued from the deserts, which again, I know I didn't feel that fatigue during the race, but my body probably felt it, and my brain and my whole, you know, spirit and everything. I was just fed up, so tired mentally and everything from the year that I had. Again, I don't know how much they had to do with it, because I feel pretty good, you know, regardless. But yeah, I was like, I'm ready to, you know how other races you finish them or you DNF and you're like, oh, I don't know if I'll do that again. That was just, you know, in this one, I was like right away, I was like, I need to try it again, because I know I can do it. And if I had the doubts in this year that I don't know if I will be able to do it, I know for sure now that I can definitely do it.
Yeah, sitting on that rock when you said, that's it, I'm finished. I remember that I didn't even say, you sure? Because I knew that for you to say that, you would mean it at that point, because you'd got so far. And I mean, I think I said to you before, not only was I super proud of you for getting there that far and doing it, but when we got to the top of Cocodona and there was a section that you could actually run, you were shifting on that section because you knew about the time constraints and you wanted to get through it. And I could see that you were trying to work out how to get round this problem.
Yeah, I was trying to solve the problem.
You were trying to figure it out because I actually don't think, and you had in your head at that point, you were going to DNF when we were up there. It wasn't until we got to that point you sat down.
It was very, I was probably, I didn't say much because I was not talking much at that point. But yeah, it's funny that you've seen my head. I was just trying to figure out how to solve the problem, because that's, again, one thing that I think about ultra running is just solving problem. But eventually there's going to be problems that there's nothing to solve. And one of them, it's injury. And with injury, you do not play hero with it, because even later on, obviously, when we came home and all the fun stuff, I did have a tear in my calf, actually. So, and it was a very tiny starting to get teared. And it actually just probably took me 2 weeks to recover, not fully. And even sometimes right now I feel it sometimes. It got a little bit, still not 100%, but that tear was 2 weeks I couldn't even put any weight on it. Now imagine if I tried to beast that, do a full grade 4 tear for what? Like I would have probably be out of running or anything for 6 months or maybe more, because you don't know what extent you can actually injure yourself. So one of the things is like know when to push through, and when it's like, oh, I'm hallucinating, I'm tired, I'll rest, or my feet hurt because they are just sore because of the nature of the distance. So it's very important for you to identify when it's like a pain I can push through and it's just, a haha pain, or one that is like, no, this is not, you don't want to be a hero and do that either. So that's another thing that I did not want to finish the race kind of half a dead or half injured. That's one thing that I have in my head for the next following year, that I want to do the race and finish like complete. Because I've seen, obviously my parents picked us up, the crew, we spent the night over in Cocodona. We woke up next morning, this beautiful view again. And we drove to the finish line because I needed to drop the tag or the GPS that we have, on. So I had to bring it back to the headquarters, which at this point now it's the finish line. There's people finishing already from that afternoon until the next day. So we had a chance to watch a couple of runners finishing, a few, because they will be very fast, because they will be finishing almost 1 day and a half earlier. So that's pretty fast. And I love how they looked. They looked so strong, like nothing happened. Like they just went for a 10K run and just like dusting off themselves and just like, here I am. That was fun. Let's do it again. And I thought, it's not only the way like to finish it, but the way to finish it. And I want to finish it like that. Otherwise, I don't want to finish it like, I do admire that people, but I don't want to do that. I want to finish strong and be able to say that was...
I think it's good to have that in your head, that you see that. However, at that sort of distance, crossing the line in any given state,
any shape or form, it's incredible. Absolutely. The people the last person crossing the line. We were at the hotel watching the live stream and seeing the last person crossing the line. I think I was crying. It was absolutely unbelievable. Those people fought hard. So I'm not taking away any of that. I'm just saying, for me, I think I want that. I want to finish strong for the next year. So that is the goal for the next year. Do you know
something else that just came into my mind as well? Yeah. I remember that in the top of Cocodona, because there was people behind us, remember?
Yeah.
That when we'd sat down and we'd been crossing paths with these people probably for the last 40 kilometres. We were in front of them, they were in front
your
of
gang.
us. Yeah. And when you sat down and they could obviously see visibly that you were a bit upset, and one of them said, what's wrong? And you're like, I'm out. And everybody, there must have been about 5. I'm like, no, keep going. And you said, I can't, I've pulled a muscle in my arm. I'm like, no. And you know what I mean? You can feel
it's just, so angry.
I've got a wee bit of goosebumps at that point.
It's horrible. It's horrible because, and when you share that, even a runner knows how that's it. Like, again, with injury, you don't mess up with injury ever. So yeah, that was the end of the Cocodona 250 dream. I know we got together for a year. We got prepared together for over a year. But, that pushed us through the 5 deserts. I think now I have a wonderful mental toolkit prepared for the next one. And like I said, we are going back next year. So yeah, we're going to keep talking about Cocodona for another year. Yay! But this year, I am going to go back. I am not having any crazy races scheduled. I want to get to that start line so strong, so fit, so like I know how I can get to the start line, that I didn't feel that way in this year's start line, because I was like, I am so tired. I'm so overweight at this point because I was so heavy because of all the 5 deserts, cortisol. I just rested 4 weeks. My feet, I still had blisters from the deserts when I stood on that start line. They were never a problem. But I'm just saying, like, wounds from my back, they were still pretty open. And it was just. Yeah, it was just too much. I think I would like to get to that start line in a different shape, mentally and physically more rested also mentally. And I think with that in my sight, I will put more shoes.
Oh yeah. Definitely.
Lesson learned, pack more.
And hopefully it won't be as rainy.
And I'm excited for that as well, because I feel like I didn't get what I signed up for. I wanted the sunny and the checkpoints with the DJs and the massages and, all the vibe. And I didn't get any of that because all the checkpoints were like being washed out.
And while the route might change a tiny bit, because every year it changes a tiny bit somehow, or maybe not. The point is you know now what to expect.
Yes.
So that can make you
I know
better.
Also there's a lot of sections that so now if you ask me what would you change? Because I think that's another question I get pretty often. What would you do differently? I think I wouldn't. I would have my crew stops scheduled, but I think the sleeping, I will change the sleeping pattern. I don't think I would stop that much to sleep, because I had stops with you guys scheduled, and then those schedule was, I'm going to sleep with you here in these points, which at the end of the story, I wasn't able to sleep. It didn't happen. I was too wired, and I lost a lot of time because I was trying to sleep, like pushing myself to sleep, which that didn't work. So I think, and also, I guess it was okay this year, because even though if I wanted to do a trail nap, a dirt nap, it wasn't going to be possible because everything was soaking wet and it was raining. So probably, but in normal circumstances, I think, if next year, obviously, I don't think we will have the same luck with the rain, to be honest. If that happens again, if we have the normal circumstances, I think I would just not schedule the naps with you in the crew. I would just do dirt naps whenever I feel like I'm really falling asleep, when you're like absolutely knackered out. And I've heard that before, but I didn't want to sort of believe it. I was like, how are you gonna be like? I don't know. I was always
first
like,
time doing it, you wouldn't want to do that.
I was scared of like,
you've done the wrong thing.
I don't know. How do you mean? What do you mean by that? Like, I was just a little like. So now, if you ask me, yes. So definitely, I wouldn't schedule the sleeping. I would just sleep whatever I want to sleep, and then don't waste time trying to make myself sleep in the checkpoints. And definitely pack more gear. I treat it like it was a desert where, I was like so confident that I've lived 6 years with one pair of shorts, one t-shirt, and one pair of shoes. But I think something I didn't think about is that it's twice the distance. So yeah, you need a little bit. And then you're given the opportunity to have more kit. Like, why you wouldn't? I don't know what I was thinking about. Anyway, I would put 3 times. Also, I broke my pole on the way. I did not have spare poles. So a lot of gear mishaps in the race that I think I need to pack more gear, pack 2 or 3 things, spare things of everything, pretty much. Also, some shorts I broke halfway, and I had to put all shorts. Yeah, I need more kit. Like, I feel I didn't pack as many, like I said, just because in my head I was,
Yeah.
I've survived with a t-shirt and a pair of shorts. I'll be fine. And yeah, I didn't think that, well, you're doing twice the distance, so in the same amount of time. So that's not the same, Tanya. So yeah, lesson learned. And with that, with those lessons, I am taking on the next year's Cocodona 250.
Already booked in
the schedule. I'm
sorted.
So excited. Don't ask me right now how I'm feeling. I don't feel fit at all yet. Dubai summer is killing me. So I really don't know how fit I am or not, because the humidity is not letting me kind of test that. But I feel quite strong. Everything is on schedule. I have my same coach and we're working towards, I told her that I want to do Cocodona 250. Now, I'm going to say something that may bind me forever here with you guys. You ready? I want to finish Cocodona 250 2026 in around 80-hour mark.
Okay.
Yes, I want to finish it in 80 something. And
what's the cutoff for it?
100 and something.
115, is it?
I don't know, but yeah, I want to finish like the day before that we seen the last finishers. So the day before the last So I'm still being quite realistic. I'm not going to say I'm going to sprint it and be like, in the top 10. But I do want to finish in the middle. I think I can, considering if I don't sleep or take such longer pit stops.
But understanding the terrain as well.
And the terrain.
Yeah, because there's definitely sections that would be
really
knowing
vulnerable. That it would be faster some stretches, because again, this year we had muds, like you all know that I've been sharing with you. Mud. We had a lot of rain, river crossings that were not river crossings. And there's been a lot of like super sleepy sections. So I definitely think that if you take like that, made everything moved so slower. And even with that, I was catching cutoffs quite okay. Like I was not making I was making it quite, all right. Like I was never until the last one. But yeah, I think I could push through and not stopping so much. So yeah, with that, guys, that's the plan. You're coming with me, of course. You have no other choice. And well, with that, one part of the plan is to start running a little bit more, obviously. And we have our first race of let's say it's pre-season. It's just going to be a leisure walk run, right? We have in 18 days, Burning Man 50K. Yay! Yeah. That's Andy's first ultra. So everyone, we're going to recall, you're going to help me to find the episode, please, where Andy says that he will never run. He will never be an ultra runner. That's not his thing. He's not interested. And then we're going to throw it into his face when we come back. Yeah, because he is going to turn into an ultra runner in 18 days. I feel like your training is on point. You've proven yourself you can do hard things already.
I asked ChatGPT.
Oh, what did your friend
I said to ChatGPT,
am I ready?
Am I ready? Of course you're ready.
Of course you are.
Actually, I'll tell you a funny story quickly before we finish.
Okay.
I have a chat with ChatGPT that's been going for weeks and weeks and weeks.
He speaks to ChatGPT like he is speaking to a friend.
But I started it off when I had the IT problem, the IT band problem. And then I was then saying, blah, blah. I'm doing Cocodona, pacing with you. And then we talked all the way through it. We talked my training and everything like that. But I asked it the other day, remember, about the storm. And what did it say? You're ready for You're ready for Burning Man. You are the storm.
I love ChatGPT.
And I was like, that's it. I'm ready.
And that's all you needed, right?
ChatGPT
said Andy's telling me this story that he speaks with his ChatGPT friend, and ChatGPT reassured him, like, you are the storm and given. And I'm like, that's why I don't talk to ChatGPT. I feel like I have a ChatGPT in my brain already. Yeah, I have someone inside here that's actually telling me that, which is my alter ego. Yeah. My alter ego is my ChatGPT. My alter ego is my best cheerleader. And that's one of the things I posted in my last socials, it's that you have to be your biggest cheerleader. Don't wait for anyone to tell you. If you like maybe ChatGPT, that's great. But if you don't have it handy, just know that your brain can act like your best.
I was just telling it that my knee was feeling good. And that was it. And then it went into this
You
big
are
story.
the storm.
I'm going to get that written on the back of my t-shirt.
I know.
You are
that
the storm.
Should be. We should make t-shirts saying "You are the storm."
Ultra Happy Podcast. You are the storm.
This is the cutest. So, but you are absolutely ready. You are the storm, and you're gonna crush it. And you can do 30K with no problems now. Even probably better than me at this point, because I hate flat running. So for me, don't think that, oh, it's 50K. You've done more than that. That's easy for you. It's not, people. 50K of flat running is very painful. I do not like flat running. It's like, it's just not fun for me. So for me, this one is going to be a challenge, just because I don't think it's going to be easy. It'll be fun because obviously it's inside this like super, people don't like to call it festival, but it's just this like experience that we're going to go through, and it's going to be so much fun. So, and we cannot wait to come back and tell you all about this experience. And yeah, we'll all cheer Andy. So please stay tuned.
And I will cheer you.
Yeah. I will be in the back, just kind of like crawling, because I don't know how my hip is going to play out, because I do have a hip problem when I run a lot of flat surfaces or tarmac or just flat. When there is not that change and it's just the same pattern for many hours, my hip just locks out, and it's just very, very painful. We've been working with that with my coach, so it's also good to have a coach walk me through that and support me. But I don't think it's going to be easy. So yes, please pray for me. Pray for Andy because it's going to be his first one. So cheer us on. And that is going to be in 18 days. I don't know if we're going to be back because we're leaving next week. So we will disappear for that week. And then later on, like one day after, when we come back, I have to leave to Bali for our women running expedition. Yeah. If you don't know yet, I am running expeditions, women only. We don't want, sorry, Andy.
I am happy of the time here on my own. Chill it out.
Yes.
Working away.
You know, we're gonna leave the guys
complaining about my glutes and my knee.
Yes, you can hear and chill out while I go out with the ladies, with a group of awesome women, to hike and run through Bali, climb at the Agung volcano and the Kawah Ijen volcano, and we're gonna run through the rice plants and planty field. Yeah, I'm so excited. But that's going to be one day after Burning Man. We still have spaces, by the way. If you're interested, we have that like in 2 weeks. So you still have time, and you're still in time and everything to join in the expedition. And or not, we have November, we have Nepal. Same thing. We are hiking, climbing, trying to run, if possible, up to Mount Everest base camp. How fun is that? So yes, if you want to join, obviously let us know. We're going to www.Instinto Expediciones. I will leave it below, so you can join me in any of these expeditions. We have so many planned for you. So yes, come on in. So we won't see you in 2 weeks.
And I think just before we finish, it's been a while since we've said thank you very much to our listeners.
Thank you.
Yeah, we are. Our podcast is still slowly growing, which is amazing. And there's lots of listeners out there in the States, so thank you for listening out there, as well as everybody else.
If you're coming to Burning Man, let us know.
That's what I was about to say.
Us.
If you are coming to Burning Man, let us know. Come and support us. You might be part of it. We can maybe run together for a while.
Yes, let us know.
But I just wanted to say thank you, and if you don't mind, we
follow subscribe, and send us a lot of stars in Spotify and Apple Podcasts.
We never ask, but we would really love you to do that.
And then we'll come back with season 8 of the Ultra Happy Podcast in a couple of weeks. So
maybe we'll call it 7.5. Because we can talk about Burning Man for one.
We'll talk about it. I can't wait. We're going to miss you guys. Miss us a lot. But in the meantime, remember to keep doing whatever makes you
Ultra
ultra happy.